Hello.
Hello.
Hello, doilies. We're back. I'm excited too. I'm excited because I love talking about this, about the show. I really do. And you and I are going to have to think of some more fanciful things for us to do. But I have to tell you, I think this might be my least favorite episode
Oh,
out of the whole series. Not because I thought it was terrible. I think you called it filler at one point. Didn't you say it was a filler episode? Or was the episode prior to that you thought was filler?
I think everything involving Jake and Leslie being broken up, and they just kept finding artificial ways to keep them apart
And
while still maintaining the tension of knowing they wanted to be together. That was clear in this
and
episode.
yeah, and I think that from episode 7 when they, hook, line, and sinker, I call it the lying episode. Everybody was lying to everybody, each other. From that episode to this, I think they wanted us to feel that there was a lapse of time, some substantial time had gone by, not a day or two, just by some of the things that she says, because they don't have any contact until the very end. And he's in her office and she's kind of like circling him and he's circling her, kind of thing. And I took little screenshots of it. But and I don't know. It was
I
and
think some time had passed by, and I think that Jake was trying very hard to just move on with his life. And frankly, I think her name was Eva, the character, and
mhm.
I loved her. I loved her interaction with Jake. They were both totally flirty.
She's cute. She was cute,
Yeah,
cute,
it was
cute.
very cute. And if I didn't know better, I would say that was Kristen negotiating her contract or something, and they were bringing somebody in just in case, because I thought they had terrific chemistry, and he
Mhm.
seemed to really like her. And I really, really liked her chemistry with even Mal,
I
because
know. That
Mal
was
was
great.
very protective of her, and he's like,
Yes.
"So did he tell you he just came out of a relationship? How many times have you gone out? He should have told you by now." And she's like, "Am I a rebound?" And he was just very, very protective of her the way he was with Leslie.
Yes.
And so I liked her, and I was kind of disappointed that well, number one, that they ended it. That was just a
That was it.
one off. But I was hoping there'd be a scene where Leslie would see them together
Yes.
and kind of see what she missed or what
Yes.
she was about to miss. So,
Yes.
but I enjoyed that whole relationship, that whole flirty thing, and it was very different from single Jake pre Leslie.
Yes.
Single Jake pre Leslie was just pure horn dog.
I was gonna say smarmy a bit, right?
Yeah, yeah. But this time he smoothed his edges are smoothed over. He treats he treated her with more respect, and like he really appreciated her. I like this version of Jake very much.
Yes, I did too. Now we were diving right in. Oh wait, that's the other show. We're not at the pond. We're in Newfoundland. Bonnie, hi Bonnie and Jan and whoever else is here. Hello. Yes, and at the very end when they wind up at the police station like they do on almost every single episode, right?
Yep.
And I have some little clips to show to remind me of some things I wanted to say. But I love the conversation when he comes out and Mouse, he being Jake, and Mouse says, "You okay?" And he goes, "I'm okay," because she says to him, before he leaves, "I'm glad you're doing okay." And he goes, "Yeah, well, I'm not top shelf." You know what I mean? That's what
Mhm.
his words are, but I'll be okay. And so then the father's asking him, and dad's like, you know, don't we know where your heart is? And he looks into seeing Leslie, Mal looks and sees Leslie in the office and he looks too. And he goes, "So don't go breaking someone else's heart."
He
And
was, yeah. It was
yeah,
like he held her in the same kind of regard as he held Leslie, and he told Jake earlier on. He said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "We're friends." Oh, okay. So you get the benefit, but you're dragging me into it this time. So
yes.
Mal was very serious. Don't be messing with somebody else's heart.
And then he was like, I was going to go out with my buddies, guy friends. By the way, Kathy, you're frozen. I was just letting you know your computer's frozen. But it's, what? It's a perfect frozen. You're standing, you're
I'm
sitting
seeing
just so.
myself moving around. No, you're seeing me frozen.
Yeah, you're frozen, and you have this smile on your face. It's like it's perfect. It's cute. You look good. So,
Okay, I'll go out and come back in, but
oh,
this is
okay.
strange. I'm still I'm watching myself move around. Am I Yeah, it says I'm
Yes,
frozen. Yeah.
Christine, yes, we know she is frozen, but on she said she was okay. Now, before Kathy comes, well, Kathy's trying to get in and out. Do you want me to toss? Okay, she did it. I wanted to talk about Bonnie. Bonnie, you said, is Alan in a TV series now? Alan has been so busy. He was in like a thriller not too long ago, but he is in a TV series on the CW, and we've talked about it before, and it is called Sullivan's Creek, as Jan is answering you. And it is in between seasons. Season one finished, and they did make season two. They were filming it. Canada gets to see it before we do. Oh, you're frozen again.
I was just messing with you
that
there.
was great because you were like, that was so good.
No, I'm
Oh,
not Christina. I was just messing
no.
with Roxanne.
Oh my God. And Christina loves Sullivan's Creek. I have to tell you that there well, he's not in it by himself, Bonnie. I thought we talked about this before. He also has Linda Boyd is in it, and she's amazing in it. And someone else was in it, and they all kind of had like a little mini reunion. Linda Boyd is the main character's mother. And Alan is the surgeon who is in love with the main character, but I don't want to.
Ellen doesn't want to commit to being a regular. That probably is not going to work out too long.
Well, well, there's another love interest. Like I always have to do the triangle, and anyway, it's good. But Alan is a jerk in it, but it's still good. Here. Christina's like, we love you, Kathy. Jan's like, good one, Kathy. And what's Jan say? By the way, there's another show that takes place in Newfoundland. Oh, yes, yes,
And
Hudson and
Rex.
Rex. Yes.
I've been
And
thinking seriously about starting that one.
I tried to too, but I only had access to certain episodes and it annoyed me and I couldn't figure out, and it was not the beginning either, and I couldn't figure out why. So when I have more time, I'll look into it. Mm. All right, so I wanted to show a few things that I wanted to point out. First of all, in this episode, all the colors were so dynamic and vibrant. Like
Could she be more gorgeous? Can I just say that? I mean, really?
she was so gorgeous in this episode, and so was Rose. Wait till I show you something. And then the orange and the blue that the others were wearing. I mean, the whole show, I don't know if it was on purpose or whatever, had vibrant, gorgeous colors, but she looked so beautiful. Even the style of the pants that she had on. But I took a picture of this to remind me, this cracked me up because she's on the phone, right? Of course, she's panicking because Jake's in there, right? She's on the phone talking to the woman who's giving her demands, and the woman's saying she wants a helicopter and all this other stuff. And she's like, are you for real? Or did you get this from some movie? It was very cliche,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was hilarious. I love how they slipped it in. So this is what I wanted to show you. Now, of course, there's a kickback here because I was just taking off my TV real fast and I had it in portrait mode. Look how gorgeous Linda Boyd is. And she's
Those
got like
colors look great on on each of them. The colors they selected.
and she has like this gorgeous pink lip gloss that's vibrant, just like her jacket. They were beautiful. And
That green, that lime green against her hair, gorgeous.
I know. And I love because Linda's on the phone with her and they're both nervous. They're both in there. Like she's worried, of course, about Mal and Jake. And then so is Leslie. It's like old times again. And they're all worried. And she goes, I'm the police. I know you want to help. And we got it covered. And she hangs up, right? And Linda's like, yeah, right. That's not going to happen. And she puts her purse on her shoulder and she's heading on over to help out.
I love the way Leslie and the perp are almost color coordinated too.
It's
Somebody
true.
really had a blast designing this episode.
That's what I mean. They all had gorgeous colors, but see, this was a little bit later when they tried to storm in and they're figuring out that things are going south. And it's actually Linda, Rose, they figure out why or what they're really after, and
Mhm.
it's not what they think.
Right.
But she's like mad. She holds his like hand up to his throat, like she's had it. She's panicking, you know. Where's
Mhm.
her Jakey, even though she doesn't want to say it. So I know this is like, what in the world is this doing here? And Kathy, I think I shared this with you before. So what I found interesting was everybody was on edge and everyone was calling everyone by like boy.
Mhm.
Everyone was. And I thought it was so inappropriate, but a little bit weird. So at one point, they're in the middle of this hostage situation. And his name went right out of my head. What's his name? Her partner. We had him on. He's a lovely guy. He plays
Dan.
fun. What is his name?
Dan.
No.
Yes.
Dan?
Steve McConnell is the actor, but the character's name is Dan.
What's his last name?
Oh,
That's what they always go by.
I can't think of it right
Okay.
now.
All right, so he's on. I mean, he's there and he turns around and she barks something at him and he barks back at her and he says, okay, boy," like, or however they say it. I'm not gonna be able to say it
Bye.
because
It literally is bye.
yeah,
We
bye.
can't say it as Jake told
Yeah, yeah.
what's his name, the little cop from he's like
Yes,
mainlanders can't say it. I'm sorry, don't quit
right.
trying because it ain't gonna work. Why
So it
is that Billie Eilish?
No, I wanted to tell you. So I remember when we had on Stephanie Beaumont and she was sharing with us some stuff and we were talking about the lingo and the words and it was so evident in this episode. I don't know if anybody else saw it, right? But she said to us there's a parody to Billie Eilish's song. This is I screenshot how you can find it on YouTube. And she goes through all the words and yes, bye, and she says it and what it all means. It's worth a really, really good laugh. So if anyone has an opportunity, it's only a few minutes long. Please look it up. You're gonna die. It's so funny.
Does this person in this picture have a bloody nose?
They do because the Billie Eilish song "Bad Guy," she gets a bloody nose. So it's a parody, and they're making fun of all the sayings that are Newfoundland sayings.
Ah,
So
okay.
yeah, and it reminded me of it because it was so heavy in this one, and it took me off like guard. Like, why would he say that to his superior? Well, it's also his part. Well, anyway, it just
I
threw
always
me.
thought it was like the equivalent of dude or something, or you just
Yes.
say that to everybody, or brah,
Oh
bro
God.
or brah.
When my kids in my school and my kiddos say it, I say, "Why are we talking about ladies' undergarments? We don't talk about that because it sounds like bra." And they're
Mhm.
like, "Ew!" And I'm like, "That's right. We're not saying that." Then the other day, I know we're off topic here. One of the kids was like, yeah, bra." Like to me, I said, "Yeah, bra." I said, "All right, boy, come over here, boy."
Hmm.
No. Anyway, so let's see first before we get there. She is awesome and pretty. She is, Christina, isn't she? They're just both of them are just so gorgeous. Janice saying Linda Boyd was in another movie this week. I've forgotten the name of the movie, but it's about a woman who gets blindsided by her husband wanting a divorce. Linda plays a wild free gal. Oh, I think you know that one, Kathy, don't you? I think you talked about it before.
Ah,
Yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
coming to mind. But does Linda get with the husband?
Oh, well, her husband blindsided by her husband wanting a divorce. Linda says she plays a wild and free gal.
So Linda is the character who gets blindsided.
Let's see. It's about a woman who gets blindsided by her husband wanting a divorce. Linda plays a wild and free gal. So maybe she's the wild girl because Jan's like, no, with a big N and an O. I can hear her now say it. No.
Okay.
Mm. Mm. All right, we digress. All right, so you
I
know,
thought this color, the color of his shirt, was great for his eyes.
this is what I mean. The colors were so electric in this episode. I also thought it was really cool how they introduced and because don't forget this is years ago this episode how it was starting to become like really big. They introduced the 3D copier and they were able to make the guns, remember? And
Hmm.
with 3D copier. And of course, they wind up in the airport and everything gets thwarted and he gets arrested and he winds up, at the police station, but it's all for good. He wanders into her office and sits on her desk, and she comes down and look at the look on his face. He's like looking at her. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. I know. You know how we always say people are certain are just electric together, and we know that these two actors. It just brought pure joy. Not that I don't want them to not be in love with their spouses or their significant others, but it brought me pure joy when I watched him in an interview and he says when he met her, he was in actor love with her. And it makes sense, you know? Yeah.
I mean, no one can really pinpoint what causes chemistry. Some acting couples have it, and some don't. They definitely have it. I've seen him act in other things where it was a perfectly good job of acting, but whoever his leading lady was, it wasn't the same. It just wasn't the same chemistry. So,
No.
and I've seen it happen with uh, like The Mentalist. You know, Simon and
Yes.
Robin. They
Yes.
had so much chemistry, and they were like brother and sister away from the camera. They said,
Yes.
you know, we're like, this is my brother. It's awkward to do love scenes with him and stuff.
Mhm.
So
But
it's a
so good.
it's a weird, mysterious thing. This chemistry.
Now, it okay, and there she is.
I'm talking about his green shirt, Jan.
Yes. And now she comes up on him. She says, "There's the black jacket, Kathy." His black
Oh,
jacket.
I'm sorry. I thought she meant. I thought it was a green jacket. Yeah.
No, no, no. She's like, "There's the black jacket." So she's comes up on him. She's got these really cool pants, the shape on them. And she's like, she even at first she leans on that windowsill there and she looks at him and she's like, "It's been a while. I find you in my office." And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like circling him and they're having their she goes, you done good or something like that. And so she's proud of him and how he behaved and how he helped with the whole case. Usually she wants to berate him, and then, of course, they wind up closer together, having their whole conversation. And he's like, how are you, doing?" And it's been a long time since we were good together kind of thing. And I want to talk to you about that. And then, of course, up comes, what is
Good.
his Hood? Up comes Hood. And he's like, "Hey, your Malcolm's out in the parking lot waiting for you." And it kind of breaks the moment. And then he was turned the other way and you'll see Hood says, "Oh, I didn't know you were there." And they make those little comments, but he's about to go. Look at the pain on her face. She's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry." And she even says, we haven't been together for a long time. We're trying to figure it out. That's when because the last time she's with Malcolm, they're, and making it work. I want to make it kissy, lovey, and you're so
Callum, Roxanne.
I'm sorry, what I say, Malcolm? And
Hmm.
I meant
Which is
Callum.
kind of weird because that's that's Mal.
Yeah. And Callum and, "Oh, blah, blah, blah." But now she's like, "We're trying to figure things out." And I'm like, "Yes, this is not gonna go on much longer." Yes. Right?
Yep.
So, this I love. I was waiting a long time for them to get together, and I like them together. And even
Hmm.
Tinny has some kind of bright blue belt, and the front of her outfit was like really beautiful.
And look
Oh,
how it plays off the window over
yes.
their heads.
And
Somebody pays attention.
they were in this scene just like back here. Watch this how this lamp over here and the blue of the
Yeah.
file, like all of it. Yes, something was going on this one. And see, these are the questions I would love to ask. And these two, they're all excited. He's got to move out and he thinks he's going to move in the apartment that doesn't have a tub, but a very large sink. And he said, "It's only 5.6 minutes from here. You put on your sirens." He's like, "But don't put on your sirens." And then they're in there kissing. And who comes around the corner but Sloan?
Yeah, Sloan kind of knew what was going on.
Yes. Yes, and I love them too. I love these two also, ALSO, Christina. I agree with you. I was so happy that they're together. And so he's moving out, but we know that doesn't work out because he winds up moving in with Jake,
Yep.
which is the
And
best.
ruining Jake's plumbing.
I know, but you know what? Look at the gorgeous detail on that stairwell.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Hmm.
Now,
I
here's
bet
what
it's hard to regulate the heat, though. Did you see that radiator?
Yes, I
Going
grew up
down.
with those. I grew up in an old house like that. So here we go. Here comes the big with the documents that she had forged because earlier, um, Des saw that she took the razor and he knew something was up. And so did she. She went and confronted her. And I love what she said to her. Des told me you took Jake's razor, and I know you didn't use it in a fight. And she says it just like that. And neither one of them blink an eye because they're each other. They are each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Street smart and hard and
You're looking
yeah.
at your future and you're looking at your past. Yep.
Yes, yes, I love it. And then she looks and she's like, "Oh my god." And in comes Jake, and Jake's like, "What?" And they zero in on his face. "I'm your father," and they cliffhanger it. And
I was
I
kind
don't
of surprised that they just accepted that at face value, though.
I think they
There
don't
must have
care.
been a part of Jake that wanted it.
I don't think they care because they took in Des. They love Des. They take in Des. They love Des. And I'll never forget when the ex-husband comes back after he gave them all that money and then he wants some of it back and she's like, "We did stuff to the house. We did college funds for Tinny, for Des, for the like he's their kid. They're you know what I mean?" And
But they're so much smarter. Like here's Jan's question. Things I got confused. How did she fake her DNA? No, she didn't fake the DNA. She faked the paperwork to say. But that's my question. None of these expert private eyes would have said, "How did you run the test? What? Where did you get Jake's DNA to run the test?" You know, that one just didn't ring true to me.
so she took his razor.
I know
They
she did, but I'm
then you
I'm just puzzled that they didn't ask her.
right. And she went, you see her go to the lab. She had a friend, remember they explain it. She has a friend in the lab, and the friend in the lab is the one that forged everything.
No, I totally get all that stuff. What I'm saying is that neither Jake nor Mal nor Rose, after they saw this paperwork, said, "Wait a minute, how did you do all this? Where did you get my DNA sample? You know, who ran the test? What, you know, they just didn't ask any questions. They looked at this piece of paper and just accepted it. And that
You're
doesn't
right.
seem,
You're right. Rose knew that she took the razor. Remember we talk about that. So that part, like you're saying, when they asked in questions,
no
she
one asked. Everyone just accepted that this is the truth.
right. And I think the accepting of the truth is because they didn't really care. They wanted it to be true.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Except Rose. Rose never trusted the woman.
No. No. Um, let's see. I think I got is that what we had said there too? Okay. And then like I said, it ends with the cliffhanger. And the cliffhanger, um, I don't know where it was in the lineup because this season was like long. And so this is 8. This could have been where they hung it, you know what I mean? Until a couple like weeks or whatever, like they did it
There
for
were
the
15 or 16, maybe
yes.
more episodes for
I
this
think it's
season.
6 is it 16? I can look it up right now. So I'm wondering if that was like the cliffhanger when it first aired, and then they brought, they did the spring season of it or whatever, because it zeroes right in on his face and that's it. And then after that is like such a disaster of what they go through because of her, you know?
Yep.
Yes. And even after they find out she isn't theirs, they still don't want to press charges on her.
Jake didn't want to press charges on her, and Mal didn't want to press charges. Rose was all in. Rose was like, "Yeah, get me to the magistrate's office because I'm signing the paperwork."
It's 16, so maybe that
This
8
was halfway. Yep.
yeah, is the little break that they wind up taking. I know. Janice is saying something about Linda. The Linda Boyd movie is the more love grows, and yes, love these two together. Yeah. And Jan's like, no, Linda convinces the divorcee what to let go of and how to move forward more freely. Yeah. And Bonnie says, wasn't so crazy about Sloane's character. I've tried hard to like her, but not happening. You feel
I
the
felt
same
the same
way.
way. Yeah, I do too. I just never ever warmed up to her character. The I can count on one hand the number of times I liked her. One of them when I liked that she took Jake's part
Yeah.
when Leslie kind of dumped him for Callum. And I
Mhm.
remember Leslie came over one day and she was like, "Is Jake here? Why? Do you want to rip his heart out and feed it to him again?" So
Mhm.
she did stand up for him that way. But other than that, a couple more times where I thought she was a stand up girl. But other than that, she just grated on me. She played
Yeah.
her part too well as a little brat because that loan shark, she kept acting like she could handle it. And, she ended up getting Jake for, basically sold into slavery to this guy. I just
Yeah.
didn't like that.
I
So again,
didn't like
she must be a fabulous actress if she
yeah.
got me to dislike her character.
I didn't like that turn of events and those in that part of the storyline too. It was it got on my nerves because she got on my nerves. There was always something off with Sloane. However, I'm glad that she finally admitted the truth.
Hmm.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And it's I think part of it in the storyline, part of a distraction for us as viewers and for Jake because he was into all being a father and protecting her while the stuff going on with Callum is about to come to an end, you know? But
I
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Even though he's not in that many episodes, it's supposed to be gaps of time and they are supposed to be longer together longer than I thought.
Hmm. I think one of the key parts of this show was to show Jake's growth as a
Oh,
person. And
yes.
each season, you saw him grow a little bit more. His relationship with Leslie was a huge part of that,
Mhm.
but so was his relationship with Sloane. It helped him really grow
Mhm.
into a more mature person that cared about somebody other than himself, sometimes at the expense of himself and his own safety. And
Yeah.
so I think that was the purpose that Sloane served to teach him how to really care about somebody else. He had that with Tenny, but it was different because Tenny grew up with him. So it
Mhm.
was kind of natural he'd feel that way and feel protective about it. And we didn't get to see his journey with Tenny. And it didn't take him all the way across the finish line to become a functioning, mature adult guy.
Yeah.
And we saw that with Sloane.
Yeah, that's true. And that makes sense. I always say this when because I'm not saying if, and they better do it soon, and we always say this, but when they do the movie, I think they could do more than one. And I would like it if they did something with Sloane, like she comes from the past, like
Mm-hmm.
something from like and they haven't
It
seen
could
her
be
in a
a
while.
trigger for a mystery that they need to
Yeah.
solve. That would be the
Yeah.
focus the
Yep.
of the movie. Mm-hmm.
And I know we've all talked about this so far, but you think that and I wanted to hear again what Bonnie and Janice and Christina and whoever else is here thinks about this. We you think Leslie is no longer a police officer and you don't and do you think that she's working with the Doyles or do you think she's doing her own thing?
Absolutely working with the Doyles. I think she's disenchanted, disillusioned with the police force, and I think over the last couple of seasons, her her motivation just changed, and you could see it when she would come to Mal with her problem. It was like it started out with, "I'm being investigated. I could lose my job. I mean, what am I supposed to do?" And it evolved over many, several episodes into, "I think I'm going to get fired because of me hanging around Jake, but I don't think I care about the job, not your son." And so, and then the final straw was when the police force kind of, although they were crooked, they
Disrupt.
kind of colluded, corrupt, and they colluded against Jake. And I think her breaking him out was true act of love, but I think it truly went against everything that Leslie was as a police officer. And I just don't see how she would have ever gone back, been able to come back from that. And I don't see how the police would have ever allowed her back, even though it turned out Jake was innocent. You still assisted, a
Yeah.
prisoner to escape. So, and I
Yes.
think
Yeah.
she would have been happier just, becoming a true Doyle and working with them uh, in their private investigation stuff.
And I could see so many storylines, like, they could be parents and be ridiculous things happen at school. Maybe something happens to the teacher that you find out the teacher needs help with something or something with the
You always want to
PTO.
bring a teacher into this, don't you?
No, because they have school kids, and we didn't see anything like that.
You
I
just
was just
like
gonna
it.
say the
You just like the
PTO,
teacher angle.
something could go down with the PTO. I think that's hilarious.
I'd
Chris,
love to see the kids as older teenagers where they might have their own little subplots going on, or even better, that one of them or both of them feel like they want to help the clan with whatever
mhm.
case they're working on. So I think that could be a lot of fun.
Christina says, "I think she's working with the Doyles." And Bonnie says, "Working with the Doyles, of course, they might not be too often, as it seems Jack keeps her pregnant."
Yeah, she was producing pretty rapidly.
Now, Jan says, "So Sloane brings back her baby for the only family she has had, and we get to meet her baby. And then she goes missing, and they have to take care of the baby.
Yeah.
So they have to, with all the babies, because there's lots of babies around."
Oh, I wouldn't mind if they brought Luke back. He was a fairly good guy. I mean, he was a crook, but he had common sense, and he tried to talk her down, and she just wouldn't listen.
I think Leslie works with the rest of the Doyle family, not back to the police, but she still had good connections.
Oh, you know, Hood was working with them constantly.
Yeah, and Christina would love to see them as parents. And Jan's like, "Oh no, Ro." Oh God, it's all good. It's good. So the next time we're together, we're gonna be doing
Episode 9.
episode 9. Now, the way we used to do this, we used to do it every other Thursday. And it felt great for me because on the other Thursdays, I had a club at school. And now, because of crazy things that happen, it fell on the same Thursdays again. But it's okay. It's not a big deal. But I'm glad because the next time we are together, it will be that spring break time, I think. We'll be talking about episode 9, right?
And one of my favorite episodes because it's major crimes, and it's when Callum finally gets the old hero.
And we saw a little glimpse if you were paying attention. And she was talking to him. She's like, "Yeah, we're still trying to," before it was all, "Oh, honey, you're so great. I was so happy to help you." And I'm like, "Ew," and they were kissing in their office. And I was like, "Oh, pull the shade." Okay. But then they were now she's like, "Oh, Jake, I'm just so truly sorry," with tears in her eyes and that distraught face. And we're just trying to figure it all out. He was gone a long time. No poo poo. Okay. Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Heave ho. Goodbye. See you later.
Jen and I are on the same page with this one.
Goodbye, creep. You know what? Let's have that creep on. Let's see if he'll come on and talk with us.
Yeah. Oh, he's pretty busy working.
I know. I
And
know.
he has bulked up.
I know. I remember I showed you pictures.
Yeah.
He was for the longest time, he was on Riverdale, 38, 6 episodes. He was just on what was that? The tracker. So maybe he'll come on and he'll tell us some more stuff he's been on and tell us what it was like to be
What's his
Leslie.
name?
That's terrible. We don't know his name. That's awful.
I know it. It's just not coming to mind.
Tell us what's his name? Who knows out there?
Not Ryan, is it?
No, okay, hold on. Major crimes, young guns, hook, line, and sinker. Let me look it up. That one killed me. It's the lying.
It is. It's Ryan Robbins.
It is? Liar,
Yeah.
liar, pants on fire. Ooh,
So Ryan Robbins, Lola Tash,
Mhm.
all the others that I'm not thinking of, who played characters so wonderfully that I was like, "You're a creep. I can't stand you." They are marvelous actors.
They are.
And it seems like they're underrated because they're probably sweetest people on earth, and yet they bring
Play
this.
good parts.
Yeah, they play the part so wonderfully that we just want to smack them. And so I think that's a real testament to their talent.
He's with Play Management. Okay. I am going to see if he wants to be on our show. Listen
Please
to this.
stop.
What happened?
Don't do that.
Singing?
Yeah.
Why?
Because. Just because. You don't want me to freeze again, do you?
They had some fun facts about him, but I don't know who put it in there. Apparently, he has a daughter who was born February 2004. That was part of their trivia for him. And there's some links. All right. Well, Welpy, Ryan, we're going to look you up because we love to hate you.
And
All
I
right.
didn't hate him. I
Yeah.
just didn't like him. I just thought he was, I think he truly loved Leslie, but he just didn't have the character to be the husband and the person she needed him to be. Because after 7 years and a clean slate, went right back to the old habits. And so that was the key difference with him and Jake, I think. Jake learned from his mistakes and he grew from them. He matured. And Callum never did. Callum didn't grow at all.
But Jake always put her first too, though. He always would like.
Well, yeah.
Callum didn't.
Callum never did.
And there's that great line that when we go to talk about that episode where she says, "I'm not the young naive girl you married. Like I'm not an idiot. I knew what's going on.
I knew every time you were lying," which was kind of, then why did you take him back?
Yeah. Pull the shade. Like I said, just pull that shade. I don't want to see you two together.
Yep.
All right. Okay, friends, this has been fun. Have a wonderful weekend. And the next time we see each other, if you celebrate Easter will have arrived and gone. And unless you come and hop on our podcast, and on Monday night, I have Nikki. You'll know her from Twitter. She is also does fan fiction. She's coming on to talk. She is a very passionate fan who I don't think is going to be watching anymore like you, Kathy. When Calls the Heart. And then on Tuesday, we have Alex Hook coming back and talking all about The Way Home, which is in its third season. It's going to have a third season.
Yay! Third season, yeah.
Yay! They deserve it because it's really fantastic.
It is.
And we're busy. We're busy gals, aren't we?
We are. I'll wait another few episodes, but I'm going to be sad when we come to the end of The Way Home because that was an experience. But at least it's like the perfect ending to a 6-season drama. I've seen so many shows that just were such a letdown. They either ended abruptly, and that was that, no matter good, bad, or indifferent, or they planned a series finale and it just flat. What is it? The How I Met Your Mother. That's an example of one, as far as I'm concerned, that was just, what were they thinking? And so Republic of Doyle went out with a bang, and it was fabulous. And you think back on it, if they didn't do a reunion movie, and I hope they do, you can still just delight in the way it ended, and in your mind's eye, the characters are doing well and they're together, and everybody ended up the way it should have.
Yeah, we just all said some stuff right now.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. You have a good one.
Yep. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Good night.